Everyone, Hans here. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about fitting in, and fitting in uh, is something that a lot of people do these days or are trying to do. I'm going to bring up an argument for that. So I picked a nice little background, and you can see some pine trees, you can see some what is that? Coniferous trees and deciduous trees. I'm just gonna call it that, I think. You see some bushes, and I think that'll do. You see hands. Now I'm going to ask you, do you see anything here that is exactly identical? Anything at all? Even the plants that are of the same stock? No? Can you see it? Which one is identical to the other? Like to the T. Right to the detail. Well, I hope you could see it, because I don't see anything being identical to the other. Yeah, you'll see trees of the same stock, you'll see plants of the same stock, you'll see leaves that are looking similar on the outside on the same branch. Maybe I should pull one in here. No, can you see it? Oh yeah, they look a little bit the same, just like people. You know, these birch trees, they all have a white bark with their black stains, or whatever you want to call that, cuts, marks. You have some some pine trees that all have needles. Yeah, sure. But which ones are completely identical to the others? Because if I look just on the offset, like the leaves I just showed, I have to ask here, which of these leaves was identical to another? They looked similar, general same shape, but they have different, what do you call that? They have different veins in their system. Some are taller, well, some are longer, some are shorter, some are a bit broader, others are curved, others are flat. Some of these, the bark on those, can you see it? Like here. Do those two trees have the same way how they go up to the sky? No, they're curved differently. What about these pines? Are all the branches sticking out in the exact same way? No, not at all. Some even have more and others have less. And what is the whole point of this? Is that while I have been pointing out the flora here, or when I'm using the flora here, you can do this with people too. And you have people of the same stock that has its purpose. Races have a purpose in existing, so as they can perpetuate themselves, right? That's that's how that goes. And yet, each individual within a specific stock will still be very unique. You can have a thousand green eyes, and each pair will be slightly different from all these other 999. Yet we live in a society where it is encouraged that everyone does basically the same thing. We're all supposed to buy products and then enjoy those until the next product comes along. We're all supposed to like the same music, if that's what you can call it, the same noise. We're all supposed to like these concrete tombs that are called cities. We're all supposed to, well, let's say for girls, you're all supposed to wear the same fake up, with all the filth that's hidden in those products, and so forth and so on. And the worst part is you're told to, well, most of us are told to just fall in line. And falling is, well, definitely the term. You'll find those on the left of the political spectrum, and you'll find those on the right. And at the center, you basically find them everywhere, even in our own circles. People who are basically following the edicts of modernism. And is that truly what I want? Personally, I do not think so. I think that those who do this have been told so because they want to be accepted. And why do they want to be accepted? Because they have no self-respect. Why do they have no self-respect? Well, because they killed their capital as self, as Carl Jung would call it. And why on earth did they did that? Did they do that to themselves? Well, very simply, as I see it, one of the reasons is that the people who should have been their parents, but only brought them into this world, and that was predominantly it. They did not parent, they dictated essentially to their children. Uh, that's how these children should earn the love that the child wants from the should-be parent. If that child, however, is told that or confuses love with just listening, well, or following the line, following commands, then we have a big problem. A child will always want love of the should-be parent. That's just how it is. It helps the child develop a self. Oh, if I can be loved, how is that possible? And then then the individuating process begins, as I would call that. Where the child develops a personality, a character, and the self, the capital S self, essentially, which is good. That's what everyone should go through. But a child that gets a child that is always told to just listen. Oh, put on your shoes, eat your dinner, whatever it's gonna be. In this demanding tone, especially when you have these should-be parents who are narcissistic, pathological, who want to suck the power they have over this child out to the last drop, where it's all about, where it's all about the child being forced to just follow in line, do what is told, just to please, to sate the ego of the should-be parent. The thing with that is, these children are forced. You can have two. They have two choices, as far as I can tell. They can rebel, and good on them for doing so. Basically, this attitude of, "I'm small now, but one day I'll be your size, and then we'll talk again. Until then, I'll nod along, but I don't mean a damn thing about it." Which is still a terrible situation, but it is better than the second option, which is, I suppose I can only gain love by heeding these commands, even though I do not want to follow them. But I mean, I want that love, so guess I'll fall in line, and that's where the capital S self, gets killed. And if it gets bad enough, that turns pathological. Then the narcissism, then evil has reproduced itself, which is always awful. And these people, unfortunately, think that following commands is how you give love or how you get love. Oh, I'll be appreciated if I just follow along. And what type of person does that become? The type of person that these days, not so generously, are called NPCs, normies, fakes, because they truly are fakes. They don't really have a morality because they were never taught it. Then, to those rebellious minds who did figure it out for themselves, excellent. But a lot of these children grew up to just do their pardon me, do their 9 to 5, do their watch the sports with all their buddies, just suck the juices out of life yourself, if there was physical abuse attached to it, you could even say that uh, these types, they do follow the line still, but they do not want to be in the position where they get hit. They want to get in the position where they do the hitting. And by the way, for as far as the white positive sphere is concerned, there are some very big names in the white positive sphere that are that I know. It has been a few years ago at this point, but that does not matter to me. Who have been encouraging. If they withdrew those statements, then I've said nothing. But if they have not, they can go surely climb up the trees behind me, as they would say in my region. If you're disliked, you're usually told to climb up a tree. um, they encourage the idea that if your child is unruly, which children should be, they're exploring, they're figuring it all out. A healthy child is going to do something naughty once in a while because, again, they have to figure it out, and you're supposed to guide them, sure. But there are these deranged minds who immediately go to, yeah, if they don't do what you want, not even just letting them explore. It's like, if they do not do what you want, you just, you know, these people will just say to slap these children. Oh, just a slap on the bum or something like that. It's all the same to me. I think it's disgusting. Imagine you yourself. You're in a room that you can't escape. That is to say, there is a door, but it's locked. And some giant, twice your size, enters that room. That giant has the key and demands that you do everything that that the giant says you need to do. And you have no say in it. In which situation do we call that sane? Is there anyone in his right mind? Some sadomasochistic types might like this, but any sane individual that has self-respect would immediately say, "Open the door for me, freak." But nobody would agree with this. Or freedoms, right? But when it then comes to children, all of a sudden it's okay. What's wrong with these people? Where is, I do not like to bring up IQ because it's not the whole story, emotional IQ. They're not necessarily the whole story, but to call yourself Y positive and in the same breath say that you slap your children around so that they will come Y positive, I can assure you, if they have a soul of their own, like, you're going to only get two results out of that. If they have a soul of their own, they're going to absolutely rebel because they're going to associate that abuse with Y well-being. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? And then on the other side, you're going to have these automatons of white well-being. These robots. We'll have our own fakes, but there will be fakes who, what would you call it? There'll be the fakes that spew Y positive messages. That is awful. That is the tactic of the anti-white. The anti-white does this to children. We should not. And if there are some big names, I do not care. If they're like some author that sold like 1,000,000 books, if they are a politician, if there's some esteemed housewife or something like that, I could not care less. I could not care less. I do not. It does not matter where I stand in the white positive sphere, how many or how few ears, bother to listen to me. In the white positive sphere, it's about caring for our own. That includes our children. And it's not because they can't have a voice of their own, because they're too small, they do not comprehend the world. No, that only enforces that we are their protectors. We are the ones who were given the opportunity, if you will, were given that sacred task of nature to look out for them. And we allow those in our midst to say they're white positive while they... I'm getting angry. We are supposed to sit there like morons, really, while the biggest names, or some of the bigger names in the white positive sphere, are saying it's okay to just whack the young if they fall out of line. I have been responsible for caring for children. It does not enter my mind. I can be exhausted, I can have the worst day, but it does not even enter my mind to even do something like that. What is wrong with these people? Well, maybe I just explained it. There is this Hungarian, I think he's an Hungarian, no, not a philosopher necessarily, a psychologist, Nodje, I think is his family name. His first name eludes me right now. And he speaks about the rolling effect. The rolling effect is the abuse in a family from generation to generation to generation. This can go on forever until you have that one generation that rebels and says enough. This is disgusting, this needs to stop. And in the white positive sphere, we look after our own, I may well hope. Because if we do not do that, or if we make exceptions, then it's all just a facade. And what are we doing? What am I doing then? The moment that becomes accepted, I want nothing to do with anything. That's the point where I retreat, in the green, and nobody hears from me again, I think. Maybe after some prompt visits to some of those broken households just to save those children. Or at the very least, I'll keep, I'm going to have to be, what do you call that? I do not even want to humor that. No, the white positive sphere is a good thing. It needs to stay in existence, and there's just some things that are unacceptable within it. And I may well hope that everyone, I do not want to hear a single voice humoring, hurting children so they follow the line. That is despicable, and it only shows that these should be parents, have to look at themselves. A child is always going to be a little naughty and a bit sneaky, or whatever it's going to be. It's going to challenge you. That's good. It's a good thing. That's their inner spirit that's still untainted by a society that wants to repress it, and you're going to partake in that repression. Then you are no longer white positive. Yeah, let's go with that, rather than this whole it falls apart, the whole facade. No. Then the whole facade is that you were white positive, because clearly you're not, if that is the case. That is not based on ideology, it's not based on anything except having common decency and some brains in your head that function properly. Yeah. So initially, maybe some now wonder, okay, but fitting in is bad, but in the white positive sphere, don't we then, if fitting in is bad, then we should not fit in with the white positive sphere either. And I guess that's an excellent question to ask for anyone that would have it. The thing is, it's not so much about fitting in as in a uniform line. It's not about fitting in even. It's about participating within. And luckily, there are some big names out there in the white positive sphere who say that. It's about participation. You either participate in it or you're not doing it. And that's that. You don't have a club card to it. It's not like a nightclub that you walk into and leave again as you see. No, that's not the best way. It's not a club that you just join and now you're in it and you can do whatever. No, it's through behavior, through decency, through exhibiting morals. But that is not the same as falling in a uniform line. That is not the same as bullying others into line either. Makes sense? I know it's a bit complicated and I'm going a little off the cuff here, so it's not the most refined message as it is at this point. I kind of wandered off at the thought of yeah, what have you. What have you. Um, but doing right for one another, you do not need uniforms for that. You do not need everyone to dress the same, look the same, behave identically, because it's unnatural anyways. This was the initial point I wanted to make. There is nothing behind me that is exactly identical. And if I would have 50 foxes here, if I would have 100 deer here, whatever it's going to be, would just be munching or just, hopping all over the place, doing their thing, you would see the differences there as well. Some deer are gonna have a few spots more, others are gonna have antlers, some won't. Some are going to have big antlers. Some foxes are gonna have a white tip on their tail, others are gonna have a black tip. Some foxes are gonna have a white belly, other foxes are gonna have an orange belly, and so forth and so on. And it's the same with people. With people, it's with individuals, it goes a step further than that. And it does not mean, and in a sense, you could call that's healthy individualism. Healthy individualism. There is an unhealthy variant, as I see it. But with healthy individualism, it only means that as individuals, they have self-respect, they stand their ground, they know what they're about. These are the types you want to fight for their own, to stand up for white well-being. These automatons who are just following orders, that's artificial, that's mechanical, it's insane. And it's not necessarily 100% their fault, although, again, personal choice, you chose to surrender. And in that sense, you are responsible for how you ended up. Was it at an age that you did not necessarily know? Sure, but everyone goes through that age too. So in that sense, you are all equal. We all are equal in that sense. In the choices we can make. In the opportunities we have, as in the USA they would say. Equal in opportunity. Yeah, in that sense, in the psychological sense, yes. In the economic, it's a fairy tale. But that's that. That's another topic altogether. And is there something I needed to add to that? I think. Oh yeah, and if these individuals who have mastered themselves, because that's the whole point, and are continuously improving themselves, they can talk with other individuals who have done the same, and now you're going to have the coming together, the collectivization, if you will, but it's a healthy variant, not an unhealthy variant as I just explained. Healthy collectivism is people who stand their own ground working together. Unhealthy collectivization is we all are, joining the ideal, what have you, the idea. We all follow the same religion in the exact same way. Okay, done with the robot voice. You get the idea. And then the question I guess follows is, where do you want to fall in all of this, or stand? One option, the healthy variant, is where you will stand, the other is where you will fall. One is genuine, the other is not. One is healthy psychologically and physically, the other is unhealthy. I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer for everyone, right? And I think I pulled it towards white well-being because it is important to me. I want it to do well. I want it to thrive. I want good people here. Or in that sphere, I should say specifically. Here in the forest, I mean, it's gonna get a bit crowded. It's not that much space, but what have you. You would be welcome around the fire. And what else is there to be said? I hope I also immediately explained some points that might be important. Again, I am no psychologist, what have you. Look up Carl Jung's works. Unfortunately, Nodje. I don't know his full name. Look up his works, The Rolling Effect. You might find it with a bit of luck. Certain, the anti-whites don't want you to know about these things. Will also reveal a lot about anti-whites themselves, where they come from. And uh, I hope I also threw in a new light on this whole perspective of individualism and collectivism, because I do consider it a false dichotomy, because we're constantly in both of those spheres throughout our lives. If you're by yourself, it's technically individualism, and if you're working in a group, it's collectivism. That's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these terms are altogether poisoned so thoroughly that I just presented in the way that before it was known as. Maybe. I don't know. Hans might be telling nonsense again. As far as protecting children, though, yeah, definitely stand by that. I hope you all do as well. And please, I will ask, if you see some big name, like, oh, he has 1 million followers, or he has sold 1 million books, or whatever it's going to be. I don't care myself in that sense what they have done at that point. Open your mouth and call it out, please. Don't be one of these types, these order followers, who is just there to follow the line. No, call it out and stand up for yourself, so you have, and garner the self-respect if you lack it first, if you must, because you cannot, again, it comes back to loving yourself. You need to love yourself before you can love someone else. Yeah, anti-whites, I hope you've heard that. I hope that the non-whites who hang out with them know that as well, because or everyone in general, also the other whites, I guess, who aren't self-hating. You can bet you, non-white, they're using you. It's up to you. Well, maybe you're using them as well. It's thieves among each other and all of that in some cases. Um, yeah, never trust someone who hates oneself. That's definitely also a message worth pulling out of this video, I think. Yeah, the time is running out. I hope it wasn't too much of a ramble. Got a little emotional there for a moment, and I think, whew, yeah, I might have turned it a bit into a ramble, but that is what it is. I would appreciate people to share their thoughts on this. I hope that if you are interested in doing more in the future, whatever it's going to be, yourself, whatever talents you have, out of all the things I've ever said, I hope that this will be one of the things that we all can agree on and that we will take with us from here on out. I will always speak out against it. If I see, I will always speak on behalf of the protection of our people, that includes the children. End of story. Anyone who disagrees with that has no business calling themselves a part of the white positive sphere. I hope all of you, whenever, where you see it, do something about it as well. There is even a quote from an ancestral book. It was written by a Christian fella, and whether he did it because he wanted to keep the old stories, and this was his only way to do it, or because he was purposely trying to mess with it. There's at least one quote out of the book that he wrote that is worthwhile to bear in mind, is that where you see evil, you speak out against it and you give it no quarter. And that's that. Um, I'm gonna go for my walk, and you all do do with what you heard here as you see fit. If you think it's nonsense, you throw it away. If you think it has value, you bring it into your life. At least for the part in protecting the young, I hope everyone takes that with him and her. And with that said, well, don't. How shall I, let's put it in positive terms. Love yourself, and yeah, know that if you truly care about others, then mm, you sometimes will have to be a little naughty, maybe, as a what is the term I'm looking for? You can be loving and at the same time maybe come out hard. You have to be willing to take a hit, I suppose, for the team sometimes. Calling out such cowards that hurt their young, however, that's not a hard thing to do. Because only a coward would do that anyways, not necessarily someone to fear. And I'm going to stop with the ramble. So you will have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.